Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, hey now, and hey now. Our number four of the line, Talk 99.5, Talk995.com. Andrew McLean, who.com on this Fun King Friday, man. We've been all over the place, baby. You want to get in? 205 545 9950 545 9950. Bring it on in, ladies and gentlemen. Also, will segments this hour, as you well know. Underdog Fantasy coming at you right now. Underdog Fantasy. And I'm going to keep this simple. If you are listening to the sound of my voice and you have not downloaded the Underdog app, and whatever that reason may be, you may say to yourself, "Well, I don't keep up with sports, or I don't like to make picks and win money, or whatever it is." Whatever your excuse is, I want you to do this for me, okay? I want you to download the app completely free. That what I'm asking you to do costs you absolutely nothing. Download the app on your phone, okay? When you do that, it'll ask you to sign up. You'll just put your info in, your name and your email and all that kind of stuff. And when you sign up, there's a spot for a promo code. In that section, put promo code Hey Now, HEYNOW, and then get yourself signed up. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just do that for me. You help me out when you do that. And also, you're in the game with the rest of us. So whenever you're ready, whether it be for the big game coming up a week from Sunday, or some college basketball or NBA or the UFL and the Birmingham Stallions coming up, whenever you're ready, you've already got it there. You signed up. And because you used my promo code, you're going to get some bonus fantasy entries for whenever you're ready to play. So just do that for now. It's Friday. You're sitting at work. You got time to do it. Download the app and then use my promo code when you sign up and sign in. Hey now, HEYNOW, and then peruse around. It's a real way to win money. I know there's so many apps and games out there where they're like, oh, you can play bingo and solitaire and win money. I don't know if those are real or not. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, maybe they're scams. But with Underdog Fantasy, you can win real money, money that will go to your bank account that you can then turn around and spend. All you got to do is get your entries right and you're in the game. But download it. Download it. What are you waiting for? Download the app and use promo code Hey Now to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 on fantasy. That's promo code Hey Now. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 19 or older and present in Alabama. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS _.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. As a quick reset, government shutdown on the way. We'll see how that plays out by Monday. I mentioned Gavin Newsom, who has uh, pledged to send winter storm resources to Tennessee while fire victims in California remain homeless. He's sending a total of 30 individuals to Tennessee. According to the governor's office, a 30-member California-based federal complex incident management team sent to support response and life safety efforts following an icy snowstorm that created hazardous travel conditions, widespread power outages, and emergency across the state. Multiple deaths have been reported in connection with the storm. Newsom said, I am thankful to the local firefighters who are stepping up to help fellow Americans during their time of need. When disaster strikes, California answers the call to support our partners across the country. Deploying this incident management team to Tennessee reflects a commitment to protecting lives and helping our neighbors respond to respond and recover to extreme weather events. Good for Gavin Newsom. This is a hey, I'm running for president gimmick. This is not Gavin Newsom actually cares about Tennessee. Tennessee just needs to straighten out the board of directors or the head honchos over at Nashville Energy Company or Nashville Electric Company to get that sorted out. And somebody texted in, said they got a cousin that works for NES. He says he's been working 16-hour shifts since it happened. Most people don't realize they are at the mercy of the city and or county to clear roads and clean up trees just to get around. They're working as fast as they can and try to stay safe and warm at the same time. Had a lot of people been better prepared, they wouldn't have as much to bitch about. It's not like they don't have like they didn't have time. It was talked about for almost 10 days. And I don't think, well, I know Murphy wasn't doing this, and hopefully nobody else is either, talking about the workers themselves. I think it was more of the people on the top had put those that are out there really risking their lives to get power cut back on, put them in a bad position to where they don't have, and I don't know the details of it, but maybe don't have the resources they need or don't have the ability to, get X, Y, and Z done in a timely manner, or however it is, however that played out. But it's certainly not the fault of the workers out there, because they are doing everything they can, just like our workers here in Alabama do everything they can to get power restored. And got a lot of respect for them. The Melania movie, as we have noted, our wives are going to see that movie. And I'm going to be honest, I'd like to see it at some point. I think it'd probably be good. In California, speaking of, the LA Metro has caved to the radical left, vandals in particular, and have pulled buses that have promotion posters of Melania Trump's new documentary because people kept vandalizing it. Instead of California, or instead of LA and the LA Metro saying we are going to arrest and charge individuals that are vandalizing city property, we're just going to move these buses. If I'm the creator of this Melania Trump documentary, I'm not even putting promotional posters in LA. I'd just let it be. Leave it be. Remember, as our caller stated, there's just blue blips all over the country in the major cities as to where people are deranged enough to go out and vandalize a movie poster because they hate Donald Trump so much. I mean, they're painting devil horns on her. They're putting Hitler mustaches on her. These people are emotionally deranged. Emotionally deranged. And they surround themselves with other emotionally deranged people, whether it's in person or on social media, and their algorithm continues to feed them the crap that they believe in. That's it. It's some very astonishing stances that these people have. It's like, I've brought this up like 3 times already, but the buddy I talked to yesterday, he said he firmly believes that 90% of ICE agents are fascist Nazis. That 90% of ICE agents are Nazis, and that 90% of the people that took that job to hurt people. And I'm like, wow. Even on a human level, you got to think to yourself, like, that's a pretty absurd statement to say any line of work contains 90% of Nazis. They think that's a big statement, but they believe that. They believe that these ICE agents are waking up in the morning, putting their boots on, kissing their kids goodbye, kissing their wife goodbye, and thinking to themselves, you know what? Today's a day I'm going to get out here and shoot somebody. ICE agents don't think that. Police officers don't think that. Everybody in law enforcement will tell you the last thing they want to do is go out there and have to shoot somebody. It's the last thing they want to do because the headache that comes along with it, even when justified, is tremendous. It railroads their life for a period of time. In some cases, ruins their life. If the justice system doesn't work in their favor or work appropriately. No, none of them want to do that. None of them want to even have to draw their weapon. But when put in those positions where they have to, I'm like, wait, the narrative that ICE is the bad guy after we have watched weeks and weeks and weeks of them being attacked, of HSI officials, of Homeland Security being attacked by people in the street, being doxxed, getting death threats. Like, we watched that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you now want us to believe that those are the bad guys? They have had incredible restraint, if anything, for not going around and blasting these people that have tried to ruin their lives. A lot of y'all in this audience wouldn't have that kind of patience. Do you imagine doing your job, whatever you do? You work in a factory, you work in radio, whatever. Could you imagine having to do your job day in and day out, being surrounded by crowds of people that are saying the most god-awful, nasty things about you and physically attacking you simultaneously? Could any of us imagine having to do our job? I mean, I have people call this show and make really stupid arguments, but it's here and there. It's few and far in between. I couldn't imagine having to be physically surrounded by people shouting these things, people that smell like cat piss and sage surrounding me, telling me what an awful human being I am. And how could I must be ashamed of myself, and I want your children and your wife to die. Could you imagine that? That line of thinking is so absurd that it's hard for most of us to even wrap our mind around it. But back to the Melania movie. Donald Trump and Melania were on the red carpet last night for the premiere of said movie. Donald Trump stopped and talked to the press, made a lot of announcements, one of which was the nomination of the new Fed chair, which is going to be a guy by the name of Kevin Warsh. Kevin Warsh, I think at one point was the governor, former Federal Reserve governor. He is also he's a Stanford University professor. What else did he do? I don't know.
Didn't Trump almost appoint him last time?
I can't remember.
I think he was in the running and he got Powell instead, and he's going, man, that was a bad choice.
Well, you have that. Well, there were some others in the running. There was a guy named Rick Reeder who's a top executive at BlackRock. He was emerging allegedly as one of the top candidates in recent days, but people in the Trump camp called him and said, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to go with you." The other two top candidates, National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett and Fed Governor Christopher Waller, were recently given some sort of odds on getting it, but apparently they didn't make the cut. So we'll see. Most of us don't really know a whole lot about Kevin Warsh, but we'll see. His name's Warsh, which is how my dad used to pronounce wash.
Wash your car.
Go wash your car. Come in here and wash these vegetables. What's that smell? Go wash your ass. You know?
I don't think I've heard that many times.
Have you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Go
So
wash yourself.
he mentioned that. A couple other things real quick. I got to take a break, but I mentioned on the signing the executive order declaring a national emergency to address threats from Cuba, threatening tariffs on countries that are giving oil to Cuba. He says it's not going to happen anymore. Cuba's failing, and Cuba has allowed hostile countries, just like in Venezuela, to make its way over to our hemisphere and do things, post up, spy, whatever, military installations, stuff that is detrimental to our national security. We're not going to do it. He also mentioned something about Ukraine and Russia, that he had a conversation with Vladimir Putin, and that Putin promised a week long pause in strikes on Kiev and other Ukrainian cities because of the bitter cold. Russia has been attacking Ukraine's energy grid, speaking of the power being out, and they're having a cold snap unlike anything that many of them have ever seen. And so Donald Trump said, "Man, if you could just stop hitting the power grid for like a week. Let's get through this, and then we'll figure it out from there." People told Trump that's not going to work. Don't even waste your time. Turned out Vladimir Putin agreed to it. Imagine that. Trump working his magic. And then also asked about the 2020 election documents and ballots in Fulton County. He was asked about if Tulsi Gabbard was there, which he said she was. You heard Todd Blanche in that press conference earlier asked about it. And he's like, listen, she's part of the overall Trump cabinet. You know, why wouldn't she be there? It is interesting, though, that Tulsi Gabbard, head of the DNI or the director of national intelligence, was at the Fulton County elections board with the FBI. I don't know what to read into that other than I like it. It's probably a good thing, as well as a lot of other stuff. 205-545-9950. More than Line coming up next. And speaking of city workers, I guess as of yesterday, the Coleman City Council had terminated the employment of the Coleman Wastewater Treatment Plant Superintendent after he was arrested for allegedly recording people in the men's restroom. Gay. Boy, that's awkward. How do you explain that one to your wife?
Making sure they're safe. A lot of crime going on.
A lot of crime going on in the men's restroom.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
Yeah, especially if you work at a wastewater treatment center.
Yeah.
Like you're constantly dealing with poop and pee. Why do you want more of that in your life?
I mean, kind of explains why I got the job there in the first place.
I guess so. I guess so. Don Lemon arrested for his church protest involvement. We mentioned that at the top of the show and a couple other times. I'm assuming he was arrested in L.A. like right after midnight. I don't know if they are going to be. He was supposed to have a court appearance or possibly a court appearance today. Maybe not. I don't know if he's bonded out. I can't imagine he's still sitting in jail, but we'll see. When it happened, as you can imagine, the meltdown ensued. And actually, Abby Lowell, who's the attorney for Don Lemon, immediately put out this statement saying Don Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents last night in Los Angeles, where he was covering the Grammy Awards. What a journalist. He was in L.A. covering the Grammys. Don Lemon in his little podcast. It says Don has been a journalist for 30 years and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role it is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing this work. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, peaceful, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest. And that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case. The unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing this administration will not stand. Don will fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly in court. Here's what Don Lemon did. Outside of being with the protesters, bombarding the church, he bombarded the church during the service and started harassing the pastor. Don Lemon deserves every bit of this arrest.